What if the key to transforming your business, your team, your clients, your customers, your entire organization lies in one skill, a skill called innovation? Stick around and we'll unravel this game changer together. Hi, my name is Clay Cutts. I'm a therapist turned business and leadership coach, and I'm also the founder of Square Peg Coaching. I help good leaders become great and great leaders become extraordinary. So let's start with basics here. Innovation simply means something new. It means new ideas. And often when we think about innovation, we think about huge ideas. And that's certainly a part of innovation, or certainly an example of innovation. Think about the mobile phone. Think about the MP3 player. Think about the electric car. Think about the car, the airplane. Really, really big innovations. Those are important. And smaller innovations are important as well. Smaller ideas, they're not huge in scale, but they're unique and they're different, and nobody's really thought of them in a particular context before. Those are the ones that we can leverage into big changes in our business. So sometimes we have these big innovations. Sometimes we have these small innovations. These big ideas or small ideas. So where does that come from? It's easy for me to say you need to be innovative, and then the question is, well, how do I do that? And here's the answer. Innovation is the product of a generally creative mind, right? And here's why a lot of business leaders struggle with being innovative is because they don't have the space to be creative. Typically, I see this all the time in the folks that I work with, and the executives and the leaders and the entrepreneurs. And I play this game called Show Me Your Calendar, right? I'll have them be on a Zoom call, screen share, show me your calendar. And it'll just be packed from, start of the day to the end of the day, and even double booked. And I'll say, well, how are you going to be in both of those both of those meetings at 1 o'clock at the same time? How's that going to work? And they say, oh, I'll figure it out. And so what that shows me is that this person is running from one fire to the next and putting out fires and being very, very reactive, right? And it shows me that they're almost 100% for sure doing jobs that they shouldn't be doing. There are tasks on their calendar that need to be delegated to somebody that they already have in place, or they need to hire somebody to delegate those tasks to, right? So here's why, and ultimately, the most important reason for managing your calendar and managing your time is that you need to create time on your calendar for creativity. See, creativity only happens in places of slowness. Creativity only happens when there's space and there's room. So here's the metaphor that I use. If you're driving on the interstate at 120 miles an hour, which I don't recommend, by the way, or maybe say you're driving on an enclosed racetrack with proper safety precautions in place, and you're going 120 or 130 miles an hour, there's room for what? One thing. There's room for staying alive. There's room for just not dying. And that takes all your focus, right? And people laugh at that and they go, ha ha ha. And I go, yeah, but that's what you're doing with your calendar. You're going so fast and there's so little margin that if one more little thing goes wrong, your entire day is just blown up. And you're stressed and you're anxious and you're, all the things, right? Now back to the car analogy. If you want to do other things besides just stay alive, like you want to have a conversation with the person in the car with you, you want to listen to some music, you want to look at admire the scenery, drive through somewhere. And, in order to do those things, you have to slow down to 80, 60, 50, 40, 20 miles an hour and go through a pretty neighborhood and look at oh, look, the azaleas are in bloom. Hey, look, oh, that's a pretty house, right? Those sorts of things only happen at slow speeds, right? And so for you in your calendar, the only thing that's going to happen the only time you're going to get ideas is not when you're so stressed and going so fast from one task to the next, to the next, to the next, and putting out fires. It's when you have time to sit back and look at this, look at the scenery, take everything in, the business scenery, like what's going on in your company, what's going on in your team, what's going on in the larger in your industry, at a larger scale. When you start to see those things, then you can start to experiment. You get ideas. I wonder if this works. And you can try something. You can experiment. Oh, that didn't work, but I learned something from it. Let's try this other thing. And you can try the experiments and get creative about ways to experiment. And then all of a sudden, boom, something clicks. Like, this is something we can try. And that those things become sometimes they're bad ideas, and you try them and it's a disaster, and it's okay. And you drop it and you move on. But one out of 10 or 20 or 30 of those is going to be useful. And those little ideas and those little ideas. And the 1 out of 10 or 20 or 30 of those are going to be those big ideas that really transform how you do business, right? Because what I want to do with companies that I work with is I want them to be disruptors. I want them to change the way they do business so much that it disrupts their industry. And that disruption comes from a controlled calendar, which leads to time, which allows for creativity, which allows for experimentation, which allows for innovation. Right? That's how this all works together. So listen, I would say to you, if you want to be a great leader, if you want to be innovative, if you want to be an extraordinary, limitless leader, start with managing your calendar. Start with learning to delegate, which is one of the things I teach my clients. Start by learning that. And that could be your first step. That will be your first step in becoming an extraordinary leader. Listen, I want you to be an extraordinary leader. I want you to be a limitless leader because the world absolutely needs you. Go do it.